So if you don't know me, I am Katiwe. I'm an abundance priestess. And what that really is helping you tap into who you truly are, which is a divine being, right? And as an extension of a divine being, you manifest more abundance, greater success. You're on your soul's path. You're sharing your soul gifts with the world, whatever they are, however they may be, right? Tapping into that power that you have to create the life that you want. And I typically attract a lot of leaders, a lot of light workers, healers, coaches, people who are here with a big mission and want to serve the world is typically who I tend to work with, and I really love working with the most. So if that is you, if that's who you know that you truly are, welcome to my world, and you might want to hang around a little bit and and learn more. And so I want to just hop on quick and talk about like who is creating your reality right now, right? This matters. This is like the next level manifestation codes right here, right? It's embodiment. It's who are you? Who are you being, right? And I think a lot of the time we come into this work and we dive into little bits and pieces of manifestation and like what that means. And I think that we can approach it from a space of like, let me do these rituals and these things that will then bring in what I want, right? And we're talking about abundance and wealth today here, but this applies to everything. But that's going to bring what I want, right? Like, let me like just say these affirmations. Let me just like do this little ritual. Let me, whatever, pray to the full moon. Let me, do a little tapping session. Now, those things count and they matter. Don't get me wrong, right? Like tapping into the energy, of course, is a part of the equation. But I approach things from a very holistic sense. And this is where you see like the holy shit results, right? When you approach things holistically, when you're not just doing mindset work and energy work, but you're being the wealthy version of you in every area. This isn't just like compartmentalized, and especially for new earth leaders and people who are here to like make massive change, but not just change, but from a place of like being in your heart, right? And being anchored in like what your soul is here to do. This matters more, right? You've got to take a holistic approach. In the old paradigm, people can kind of just make money and not be in integrity, right? We've seen that a lot. We've seen people making money and not being in integrity. Duh, right? We all can just list 1,000 examples, at the top of our head about people who are making money out of integrity. And they don't care to, right? They don't care about integrity. They don't care about who they're harming in the process, right? They don't care about the earth. They don't care, right? All they want is the cash, right? That's not the paradigm that you and I are a part of or are interested in or will operate from or create our wealth from, right? That's just be very clear. But that's the old paradigm, right? And that's why there are so many funky beliefs and funky, energy around money, because people are like, well, if I make money, it has to be that way. And we've only seen primarily, dominantly, this one like very, parasitical way to create money, and it harms people in a lot of ways. That isn't how it has to be. That isn't how it had to be. That isn't how it inherently is. That's just what some people did, right? And that's a whole other conversation. But I think you can compartmentalize if you're somebody in that like grouping, right? But if you're like me and you're somebody who's here to do big things and change the world for the better, whatever way that you see fit and are called, we're not going to create wealth that same way. We have to create it in full integrity within our values, right? With who we are, and also using our spiritual gifts, right? This isn't something where we're like, we're going to make $1 million and something completely unrelated to what we're actually here to bring. It's like, no, this is full soul alignment. What are you here to create? How is it going to be, brought into the world, birthed to the world? Like, those are the channels to your wealth, first of all. So don't get lost in the sauce of like, I'm just going to do whatever it takes to make money, right? If we only, now listen carefully, if we only follow money, that is a path to destruction, right? We get to make money, but we can't only follow money, right? So we can get a lot of little tangents here, so I'm going to try to stay on track. But we get to make money, but the soul gifts are what drives all of that, right? That is the thing. Like, whether you're a coach, whether you're a healer, whether you have this amazing product that's going to save the world, whether you want to help women and children, however that, maybe you're a musician that plays really beautiful music that's super, uplifting and enlightening, right? Like, it can be, your gifts can be manifested in a variety of ways. It doesn't matter, right? But whatever that is, like, that's the path to wealth, right? You're not likely going to make a lot of money in another avenue that has nothing to do with that. And I think a lot of the time we can kind of have these belief systems that override our own magic and override what we're here to do, and then we get lost, right? And then we kind of get stuck in these patterns and like these holding patterns and go, well, why am I still here? Why am I not experiencing the wealth and abundance that I want? Well, it's because you haven't actually followed the path, because you likely have belief systems. Bye bye. So it takes being the wealthy version of you, right? Holistically. So making sure you're tapped into what exactly you're meant to birth into this world. Like owning that is immense in and of itself, right? Like owning who you are. For me, it took me, 26 years to get to the place where I actually owned what I'm here to do and what my gifts are, like what my gifts are, right? In a unique way, because they were different. It wasn't something that I saw a lot, especially not in my own household or in my own near community. Like it was very hush hush, like being, a star seed, being psychic, being intuitive, having these gifts is not like the norm from where I'm from, right? So owning who you are, owning what your actual gifts are, and giving yourself full permission to step into that is like the first path, right, to being the wealthy version of you, right? Secondly, okay, how does the wealthy version of you operate in that gift, right? Are you showing up, right? Are you showing up for your gift? Are you putting the time in to refine your craft? Are you showing up and sharing that gift in the way that you're meant to share it? Are you taking action? Or are you just like, oh, I have this gift. Oh, I'm just gonna hoard it to myself. I'm not gonna get out there. Like it's scary, right? And I get that there's so much that comes up, right? And this is why this is a whole journey. This is a whole journey because you're on your path to your abundance and your wealth and the way that you're meant to make it. You will encounter every single little piece of resistance, belief, energy, trauma from your past, childhood, ancestral. Like you will encounter the gamut, right? And that's why it's so important to have support and have that place where you can go to actually integrate these things and shift and move forward, right? So again, you will be tested along the way, but are you showing up in your gift? Are you sharing that gift with others? Right? That's obviously how you're going to not just serve, but receive. People have to know what you do, what your magic is, how you share it, right? You've got to get out there. And so if you're having issues with doing that, of course, there's some things to shift, right? So the first thing was owning your gift in the first place, sharing that gift, right? Being the person who's showing up, sharing that gift. 3, it's like, are other aspects of your life in alignment too, right? So it matters that it's not just about like the money making things, right? Are you taking care of your body? Are you taking care of your soul? Are you taking care of your mind? Are your relationships like on the right track, right? Like all of these things matter. It's not just like, let me focus on what's making me money and it's the only thing. This path is holistic. If you are a new earth leader, if you're here to change the world and you want to receive wealth, that path is different. That path requires more of you. That path requires more integrity, more responsibility, right? More effort to stay in alignment with yourself. Now, this doesn't mean you have to be perfect. Please don't think that I'm saying it to be perfect or like, completely free of ego and all these super spiritual things. You're on a journey, right? This is ever expanding. This is ever evolving. But you've got to be working towards it. You've got to be doing the work in other aspects of yourself. So I want you to think about like your life. Like if you imagine yourself at the income level that you are saying you desire, right? Whether that's millions or billions, a lot of us have billions coming through very, very, in a short period of time comparatively, right? It's much easier to receive money now than ever before. So it's like at that place, right? Where you have limitless funds, where you have money just coming in droves, right? What are you like? Who are you? Who are you being? Right? Who are you being with money, of course? Like, what kind of relationship do you have with money? What thoughts, what feelings, what energy do you have towards money? How do you treat money? How do you relate to money? Like, are you respectful of money? Do you spend it in integrity? Do you, are you somebody who would be generous, like, and, giving to charities? Are you supporting family? Like, who are you at that place with your money? What kinds of things would you be doing with your money? Would you be saving it? Would you be, investing it in certain avenues? Like, we have to begin to paint a picture in our internal world, first of all, to then embody those qualities in our external world. And that's how you quantum shift. That's how you leap, right? That's how you go from here to here. And people kind of go, well, that was fast. You did a lot of work to get there, right? You embodied the person. the time it takes is only as long as it takes you to embody the version of you that gets to have it, right? Like that's the time it takes. It isn't about time. It's about how long does it take you to embody that version of yourself. That's the only time that comes into play. And it just depends, right? It depends on you, your willingness to grow, the amount of support you have, whether or not you have the right tools, right? All of those things come into play. And sometimes it's just readiness. I don't really believe in like divine timing. Like I don't think that we're controlled by this divine timing thing. I think we have a lot more say so around that than we can give credit for it. So, I don't think it's divine timing that you wait 30 years to receive your good. I think that that's just how long it might have took someone, right? But it could have taken you a year. It could have taken you 5 years to embody the version of you who has the thing. Like that's the only time that comes into place here, right? So all of these things have to be worked on, right? You have to be evolving and expanding. And really, I say evolving and expanding, but it's actually a deepening because this is actually who you really are, right? The wealthy version of you who's powerful, who speaks your truth, who shows up, who's a leader, who's helping the world, the planet in whatever way you see fit, who's making the money, who's, circulating the money out to all the people and creating this really beautiful ecosystem with your finances. That version of you already exists within you, right? It's just like how much of that version of you are you sharing with the world and are you showing up as? And so when you come into my world, when you come in and do the work, it's like we really are just peeling away what isn't you, right? It's like that famous quote about Michelangelo. Whether or not he said this, I don't know, but people don't say this quote, right? But it's powerful. And people, would ask him like, how do you make these amazing sculptures like David and all these beautiful things? Like they're beautiful. They're absolutely beautiful, and they have this resonance. Anyway, that's a whole other tangent. But they really are like source, like it's art, right? It's art, but it's like it's a deep kind of art. And apparently he said like I just took away the parts of the marble that wasn't David, right? So if he's creating David already existed in the slab of marble, right? And Michelangelo's job was just simply to chip away what wasn't David. Right? And that's what we're doing here in my world. We help you chip away the parts of you, the belief systems you picked up along the way, the trauma, the stuff, the energy, like the habits that aren't serving you, that are actually not you, right? It's a part that you played. It's survival mechanisms, it's trauma responses, it's conditioning, right? But those things are not who you are. Who you are is always abundant. Who you are always knows you get to have what you want. Who you are is powerful. Who you are has amazing gifts that you own, that you feel proud of, that you are worthy of, and you show up in the world strongly and share. That's who you actually are. No matter how you're feeling right now, what you're going through, the challenges, right? All of that is valid, and like you get to, express that pain and whatever's going on. But then we also have to remember, like underneath all of that, there's this truth that's not going away, right? And it just kind of like whispers at us until we pay attention enough to do something about it to access that truth. Like that's just the journey. Right? So you already are that version. It's just activating that version. It's chipping away at the parts that aren't you, that are in lack, that are in fear, that are not fully in your power, not fully saying your truth, not fully going out there and doing the damn thing, writing the books, right? Speaking on stages, traveling the world and helping the people in all kinds of towns and cities and villages across the world, right? That version of you already exists, right? That version of you that has resources, has a bank account that's full of money, already exists, right? Traveling already exists, but there are just aspects that you have taken on as an identity that are false, and it's time to just release those, right? And so that is the work. That is the work that I help you to do, and it isn't me necessarily doing the work for you. I just help you become the version of you that can already do things, that is already inspired, that already has a $1 million, idea, that already knows who to contact, where to go, what to say, that can call in all the support, that is really in tune, that is in a high frequency, that takes care of yourself at every level, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, right? Who has healthy relationships and great dynamics, right? Like all these things are actually so normal and so natural to the wealthy version of you. And like wealthy to me encompasses, of course, money, but way more than that. Like wealth to me is everything. You have it all, right? You have it all. You have the health, you have the relationships, you have the strong body, right? You have the vision, you have spiritual gifts, you're tapped in, you have the beautiful heart that's serving the world, right? You live in a beautiful environment, right? Like, you have it all. Wealth is you have it all to me.